Miss Yarroda Bersi.
Ave Satanas! Hail Satan! Hail Satan!
Greetings, heathens. Welcome to Hail Satan. This is a podcast exploring Satanism, culture, and life in general through the eyes of modern Satanists. My name is Joseph Rose. I'm a member of the Satanic Temple and founder of a little group called Satanic Delco.
And I'm back once again. My name is Maura Cates. I am a member of the Satanic Temple and also a member of Satanic Delco.
Maura, how are you?
I am doing wonderful.
Have you had a good holiday season? That's where we're at right now.
I did. We did a mixture of Christmas and Sol Invictus and a little bit of winter solstice. We kind of cover everything in my household, just kind of like cross it all off the list. So it's been fun. It's
been a good time.
Oh yeah.
Good.
I've got a 10-year-old who's interested in rituals and things. So
yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've been exploring this path together.
I have a 13-year-old who is interested in the rituals of making his father put together Star Wars Legos.
I am so glad my kid's over that phase.
Yeah. So that's what I do. I put together the Legos and then I shoot the shit out of everything with Nerf guns, and that's our ritual.
That we just had the Nerf gun ritual ourselves.
Yeah.
I bought 6 Nerf guns.
6!
And a fuck ton of ammo.
Yeah.
And every day now since Christmas has been at least one 10-minute just random.
Nerf
everybody
dart
grabs,
to the side of the face.
Oh, everybody just grabs guns and goes ham.
Yeah. Well, I told you I got one of these rival Nerf guns.
Yes.
These ones that shoot the balls at like a force that will cave in your orbital bone if it hits you.
Oh yeah, no, those things are no joke.
Yeah.
They're fun though.
It's wild. The dogs need to run for cover before he gets any bright ideas and starts taking aim at them.
Oh my God, now my cats freak out.
Today, we're going to be discussing everyone's favorite, the 10 Commandments.
Oh yeah.
And along the way, I guess we'll make some comparisons to the 7 tenets of the Satanic Temple.
It's going to be, for me, I think it's going to be the struggle to do the comparison.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we can't really, we can't make a one-to-one comparison. It's not a direct comparison, but we have the spirit of one versus the spirit of the other and all the little details that are encompassed within them. So
absolutely,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, just go with it.
So before we get to that fun conversation, we'll do some of the stuff. We've got some listener mail. Let's do a few of these. I've got one from Vasu Madan. I'm probably messing that up, but he writes in, loving the content and your voice is pretty nice, like I am listening to my older brother. I was searching about Satanism and I found your podcast, Love from India. Love from India. That's why I included that one. I really loved just hearing that people are listening to this in India.
That's pretty rad to be international.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've gotten a bunch from all over the world already, but I don't know if I've gotten one from India before. And man, it just never even crossed my mind that
I was gonna say,
folks in India would be listening to this.
It never crossed my mind that Satanism was something in India because, I just think of the major religions and, their rituals and everything. And I go, oh duh.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for writing that one in. Next up. Hey there, my name is Kai. I'm a 21-year-old Australian who has recently transferred from the Church of Satan to the Satanic Temple. Just wanted to say that the sense of community and the love for political advocacy is a breath of fresh air, and the 7 tenets are a perfect rule set to live by. Thank you for creating a podcast and a space where people can discuss modern Satanism.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Kai. That was very nice. Next up, this one really kind of got my attention.
Oh, okay.
This one is written in by Ash. I'm getting closer and closer to my admittance to being a Satanist because I want to live my life the way I want without harming anyone. I am just a sexual deviant, and I love being a sexual person because that is my favorite thing in the universe.
All right, Ash.
All right.
More power to you.
Ash, let me just take a moment to address your comments. First of all, thank you very much. I appreciate that you're listening to the podcast and hopefully enjoying it and writing in. Now, Ash, I'd be lying if I said that when I read your message, I didn't have just the tiniest little seed of concern in the background.
Yeah,
Just
me
the
too.
tiniest. Now, what I'm here to tell you, Ash, is I hope you're out there having fun. You sound like you're a person who is looking to have a good time, for sure. And I hope you're finding that, and I hope everybody you're finding it with is also having a good time. Just do me this one favor, and whatever it means to you, just be careful out there, okay?
Be safe.
Be safe. I don't know.
Here's my personal
That
look on
message
it.
stood out, right?
Oh, definitely. If that came in through my email inbox, I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah.
First, I'd like to say, not all Satanists are sexual deviants.
Oh, for sure.
But more power to you if you are.
Absolutely.
I would say as a woman, just play it safe. Go out, have fun. Go have fun with as many people as you want. That's the joy of being a human on the little bit of time that we have on this earth. We should enjoy it completely. Make them wrap it up.
Yeah.
That's all
Be
I ask.
safe. Yeah, Ash, whatever you're doing out there. And of course, we have COVID to deal with. Just generally speaking, be safe. And I hope you're having a good time out there. We have one last message. This one came in through Instagram from Clint the Third. He writes, "You guys keep saying Hail Satan and are excited to go to hell. But when you go there, you'll be naked and burning and suffering for eternity," in all caps. "I say this out of love, guys. Please listen. God still loves you. Turn to him. Pray. Repent. Live and live for him. I say this out of love. God bless." Clint,
Thank you.
thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your concerns.
I am always the person that I think we get enough of that mail of God loves us and what are we doing and, and
Yes.
everything else. And really my best response to that is always thank you.
Yeah, I get blessed so often.
so
It
much.
is ridiculous. The amount of blessings I got are they are overfloweth.
But you know what? I appreciate it because I don't knock anybody for their religion in the ways that I hope that nobody knocks me for mine. So
Yeah.
I don't pray. I don't obviously do anything. I'm basically an atheist. I don't believe in God and I don't believe in Satan as, a horned entity of any sort. But if you're going to take the time out of your day to either write a message and just say, hey, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
If that's what you're doing, like more power to you on it. Doesn't necessarily mean that I believe it's going to work or,
Yeah.
miracles are going to fall from the heavens. But, thank
Hey,
you
look,
for
it
taking
didn't
that
hurt
time.
me any. And frankly, I get a kick out of those messages. We
I
get a lot
giggle.
of them, particularly on our social media channels,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Instagram and the Facebook. Sometimes I get those messages with frequency.
Oh yeah, and
So.
it's always interesting, but yeah, I feel like at this point all I have to say is thank you,
Yeah.
you for taking your time out to think about me.
Yeah, right on, Clint. Hail Satan to you. Guys, before we get into our topic, let me take just one moment to remind you to please visit hailsatanpodcast.com. You'll find links there to all of our social media platforms. I try to be active on there, particularly on Instagram. I have been toying around with the Twitter a little bit more. I haven't been much of a Twitter user recently, but
Good for you.
I've been trying to get on there a little bit just to remind people that we're there and spread the word. You can use the website to send us a message through email, and I encourage you to always do that. We love to hear your stories and whatever else you've got to say to us, like those people did. And of course, there is a link to our ever-growing, vibrant Patreon community. Pretty soon, I guess now's not the time to do it, but pretty soon I am going to make it a point to talk more about what's going on the Patreon account.
Yeah.
Because it's growing. And so you all might be interested in taking part. But we'll talk about that another time. When you get a minute, visit hailsatanpodcast.com and do all the stuff. Thank you. And now, on to the topic of the day.
Yes.
All right.
Let's go.
We're going to take a look at the 10 Commandments and do a little bit of a compare and contrast with the 7 tenets. First, Maura, what the hell are the 10 Commandments? Do we know?
So the 10 Commandments were basically the moral code. It was the rules, codes, and conduct in Israel at the time. So Judaism was the first to really publish the Ten Commandments in any form. Every book has a version of them. So old King James,
Right.
new. But yeah, they were just kind of their moral code of what,
As the basic story goes, I mean, to super simplify, guys, this is, this is a can of worms. But to simplify, God wrote the Ten Commandments himself on stone tablets and gave them to Moses to share with all of the Israelites soon after they left captivity in Egypt.
yes.
And these were his messages of the utmost importance for everyone. And there are a few slightly different versions of the commandments out there, depending on which version of this stuff you might prefer. The one I'd been looking at is I think it's the New King James Version. I chose that one for really no particular reason. It seemed fairly popular and common.
There you go. And I went with the Old Testament version just
Yeah.
because I think the wording in the Old Testament one's pretty rad.
Yeah, some of the versions differ in their wording, and one common differentiation is like the Protestant versions and the Catholic version, they have a different numbering scheme. So things that are number 6 on one might be number 7 on the other,
Yeah.
things like that. They include little bits extra or less in some of them, but basically the message is all there.
They're all still the same 10.
They're all saying the same stuff. So, the good book itself, the Bible, says, "And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage." All right, that is a little preamble, perhaps, to the commandments.
Yes.
And commandment number 1, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Fairly short and sweet, that one.
Yeah, he goes right to the point with that.
What do you think of that one?
I mean, looking at it from an atheistic point of view, I'm just
Sure.
like, it's kind of ego driven. He just wants to make sure that Christianity shall reign supreme, that there is no other God. You can't worship the magical flying spaghetti monster because, before him.
Yeah. And although it doesn't say this directly, obviously, a lot of these things are open to interpretation. And in the case of the Bible, they've been interpreted time and time again for
Ever.
years over years over years. So even though it doesn't say so directly, the way that I've seen many interpret this one is to say that basically anything can be a god in your life. This could mean sex, money, drugs, whatever holds a supreme place in a person's life. The commandment is there to say that nothing, no matter what it is to take a higher place in your life than God. Certainly not any other God.
Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of theologists with that completely. And okay, kind of makes sense.
You could read it that way.
You could read it that way, and it does help some people keep on the straight and narrow.
Yeah. And also, it's the first one. And to me, there's something inherently special or important about whichever message is made to be the first one. And in this case, the first commandment is spent asserting the primacy of a single deity rather than the compassion and empathy toward all that we see prioritized in the 7 tenets. For comparison, the tenet number 1 is one should strive to act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures in accordance with reason. And in both cases, you can see the importance of that one being the first one.
You
It's
got
sort
to
of
start
like,
off strong.
yeah, it's maybe the most important overarching theme.
It would be a little different if God came down to Moses and said, "Hey, number 1 is thou shalt not steal." It
Right.
would kind of hold a whole different
like
meaning.
why is stealing so important?
Yeah.
But in this case, it's made clear you will have no other
other
gods
gods.
before me.
Yeah.
And, on the other hand, the 7 tenets prioritize, strive to act with compassion and empathy.
Yeah, and I do feel that if you put another tenet in the number 1 spot, it wouldn't hold the same meanings for the other 6.
Yeah. It's sort of telling to me
Yeah.
that on either case, the 7 tenets and the 10 commandments, the one that is first means a little extra something to me.
You got to start off strong.
Yeah. Commandment number 2, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and shewing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. There is a lot to unpack there.
There is a fuck
Holy
ton
shit.
to unpack there.
God was not fucking around on commandment number 2.
Commandment number 2. It's like the 1 and 2 are just like,
Yeah, we might have to break that one down a little.
yeah, here is where I am, and I am a jealous, vengeful God.
Yeah.
So don't fuck around
Yeah,
with me.
what are your thoughts on this one? You want to break this one apart a little bit here?
This
There's
one-
a lot.
Yeah, this is like one of those to just completely unpack. The fact that he just goes straight into it, I will give it up to God and give him, some props here. There's no fucking around. It is just, I am a jealous and vengeful God, and I will show mercy to everyone who loves me. But that's always the part that always got me with that one is like, oh, I'll show mercy to everyone who loves me. Everybody else, however, I'm a jealous God.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I have a little bit of my notes.
That was kind of like my turn off with that one.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's intense on this one. Basically, this one is saying it is forbidden to make any image or picture of God in any form or for any purpose, or to worship any creature, image, picture, sculpture, you name it. In addition, this wouldn't have occurred to me maybe, but as I was reading some interpretations and everything about this one, images are created in one's imagination.
yeah.
So if you create any image of God in your imagination, in your mind, you have broken the 2nd commandment. And not only will the individual / father, the way it's written, be held responsible for that, but it states clearly that God will also hold that against the children down through the 3rd and 4th generation of them.
Yeah, so your whole family is fucked.
So just imagine, guys, you're out there, you're on the fence, you've heard about this God and these commandments, and you're down. You're like, all right, I'm in. It sounds wild.
Yeah.
I'm going to be down. If you imagine in your mind an image of this God,
And you're going to want to at some
of course
point.
you're going to want to.
You
You're
don't
like,
know what
what's
he looks
that? What's
like.
God? What is it? Where is it? What's it look like?
Yeah, is it a guy? Is it a girl? Like, I think everybody at some point, if you've delved into religion at any rate, has been like, you know what? Yeah, no, like, I understand what Jesus looks like. What's going on with this God dude? You know?
So if you imagine
You're telling me
that,
my great-great-grandchildren are fucked because I thought
That's right.
that God might be a woman, or I decided to put curly hair on him in my head.
Yes. So if you imagine in your mind an image of God, not only will it be held against you, but your children, and down through the 3rd and 4th generations of them. Wild. Also, it straight up says, I am a jealous God.
Yeah.
To me, and again, I obviously have my views, my personal opinions of all of this stuff. I am a Satanist, after all. I identify that way for many reasons. But to me, no offense to anyone who might be listening, this whole thing sounds crazy. It is mean-spirited and designed to scare uneducated people.
And that's what always concerned me with reading Exodus and reading other parts of the Bible as well, is it always had this slight feeling of fear-mongering.
Slight. Maura,
And I'm being nice,
you're being
okay? It's
too kind.
It's one of those things. I'm trying not to offend.
This is a heavy-handed, fucking threatening bunch of...
I was going to say, I'm trying so desperately hard not to offend, but...
Well, we do have
know
the
what?
freedom to offend.
I do have that freedom to offend.
Yeah. We're not
and-
attempting to offend, but I mean, we have to be honest.
Yeah, here's my thing. that was, I think, the biggest turnoff personally for Christianity in general is like, this is some fear mongering, crazy shit. Like,
It's mean. Like, that is not cool on any level.
I would never want anything that I'm putting my faith, my hopes, my dreams, and, you know, and having people that are in my life that are very Christian, you know, and watching them pour that type of emotion and soul into a religion, to have somebody that is that angry and hateful and fear mongering, and if you don't do it this way, fiery death and demons and crazy, like, no,
just
fuck
what
that.
really gets
Like,
me.
no,
What really gets me is the openly stating, I'm a jealous God. That part is wild.
yeah, like,
And
I'm
then-
already in it.
And then just the threatening all of the generations. Like, wow.
Yeah, not only are you fucked, I'm gonna make sure that your entire
I'm coming
family
for
is going
everybody.
straight to hell.
All for just, you know, essentially a thought crime. Like, you didn't even... And it's not like you're imagining anything bad. You're just
No,
you're just a curious human.
Like, I'm not imagining God like, oh, what if God looks like Ronald McDonald? Like, I'm not trying to do it in a way that, you know, is hurtful towards God. But to be honest, I would be a little curious to know what he looks like.
Of course. Oh, all right.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Commandment number 3. I'm already exhausted.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 3. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Well, for Christ's fucking sake, I'm already done. I mean, I think
God damn it,
if there is,
Maura.
if I end up dying, let's say I get smacked by a bus tomorrow and I'm totally wrong and there's a heaven and I'm up there,
You're in trouble.
I'm getting to those gates and they're going to be like, dude,
You are not guiltless.
you have used the Lord's name in vain since you were like 7 years old on. Like,
I don't think I've gone one day without breaking this. I mean, I can't imagine going a single day without making some little comment just to myself. Like, God damn it. You know, like something.
Oh yeah. If you're just going on the sole basis of just the words "God damn it," I'm an everyday violator of this.
Like we
this
all,
commandment.
just for whatever reason, you know, so many of us, that's a little part of our vernacular. We say it. Jesus Christ, I stubbed my toe.
Yeah.
You know?
For Christ's fucking sake. Like, and it's so funny
Can't do
because I have grandparents that were like heavily Irish Catholic. And if I'm going with this whole jealous and vengeful, like crazy God that we have, just something as simple as my grandfather going, oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Yes,
Like,
that was a popular one in my house.
That was like a huge one in my house.
Yep.
It was, oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I'm
Getting
like,
the whole gang in there.
yeah, I'm like, fuck, does that count too?
Yeah, it does. Sure.
Like-
yes.
Oh, well, shit.
Well, so my notes say this verse prohibits hypocritical, insincere, or frivolous use of God's name or using it in any way that is somehow less than exactly what God demands. If you swear in God's name or lower what is holy and perfect in his eyes, you have broken the third command. You're only to worship him with reverence and seriousness at all fucking times. All times.
Fuck
There is
that
no
nonsense.
way to waver from that. And
I don't think I know any Christian in my life
no.
who has not violated the third commandment.
Yeah. This one is
Ever.
it's still just more of God commanding you all about how important he is and how you are to worship him properly.
Absolutely.
All right. Moving on. Commandment number 4. This one's a little thicker. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. That is a lot.
Hence why Chick-fil-A is closed on a Sunday.
True, right? That is
It
really,
is.
that is why.
Sunday is the Sabbath, and it is supposed to be the day that you don't eat meat. It's
Yeah.
a fish-only kind of day. You don't lift a finger.
Yeah. And right off the bat, Are we talking about slavery here?
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about slavery, right? When we're referencing thy maidservant or thy manservant, this is slavery.
Yeah. When
And
these
we know
commandments were written.
even if that text of that commandment, if that part of it about manservant and maidservant, if that part is up for debate by anyone, which I'm sure it is by someone,
yeah.
we already know that other parts of the Bible are littered with pro-slavery bullshit, and it's treated with a casual acceptance, and at no time during the Bible is it stated in any way to be wrong, inappropriate, unfortunate, pro-slavery.
It's mentioned a lot.
Hell yeah.
But it's never like, oh, you need to own slaves. It's just kind of casually like, it's perfectly fine to do this.
Yeah, and I think
your
I know
slave
there's
should act in the behavior that is becoming of like how you would be.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about how slaves should behave. There's a lot of talk about how slaves are to be punished,
Yes.
and in some cases murdered.
Yes.
And there's talk of I think Abraham. There's direct references to him buying slaves with silver. I think it is. So it feels like that one is. We're definitely we're getting into some slavery here. But okay, we'll leave that alone for a moment.
Yeah, you know what? It's just basically the Lord made earth in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. And so going back to
therefore we
how
should
he
as well.
is,
right.
And, is if I rested the seventh day, then you need to rest the seventh day as well.
It is said that Jesus Christ allowed works of necessity, charity, and piety to be done on the Sabbath day. Otherwise, all works of luxury, vanity, or self-indulgence in any form are forbidden. Trading, paying wages, settling accounts, writing letters of business, worldly studies, traveling, visits, journeys, or light conversation are not in the spirit of keeping the Sabbath day holy. You can't really do much of shit.
I literally sit there with my thumb in my ass because there's...
Well, I'm sure they would have a problem with that. You keep that thumb away from the ass.
No. I don't think they'd have a problem with that.
No?
Surprisingly. No. I mean, we've all heard of God's loophole. So...
Right.
ass play is actually
True.
okay in the Bible.
Yeah, I guess that's up for debate as well. There's an episode, guys. Remind me of that one. We'll discuss it at great length. Okay. The first 4 of the 10 Commandments have nothing to do so far with human morality and are a series of demands and warnings about how to worship a self-admittedly jealous God properly as to avoid generations of punishment. Also worth noting that the commandments that do have any contact with human morality are all for the most part negative, saying thou shalt not do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
They're not, it's a negative tone. It's more of a threatening, negative sort of vibe.
The first 4 is, this is who I am. This is what I want from you. And I'm not taking any, take no prisoners with this.
Yeah.
Like, this is how it's going to be. And that's that.
Yeah. And we can pause for a moment to compare. So we have the general vibe of those first 4.
Yeah.
And we can compare that to the general vibe of the first 4 of the 7 tenets. In short, they are act with compassion and empathy toward all. The struggle for justice is necessary. One's body is inviolable. And the freedoms of others should be respected. A whole different vibe.
Yeah, it's a complete 180 from what you're going to catch in the 10 Commandments.
The 7 tenets, as they state within themselves, are designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. They're aimed at sort of improving the experience of life for the individual as well as the greater whole of mankind.
Yeah. When I first started getting into Satanism and really starting to align myself with the 7 tenets and align myself along with the temple, was one of these conversations that I've had with other people in my close group of friends when they're like, really? Satanism? And I'm like, yeah, okay, hold on. And I always kind of open it up with the tenets. And 95% of the time, the answer I get back is, well, shit, by these, I'm a Satanist too.
Exactly.
And, I've always looked at it as this is, if everybody could just live their life through the tenets, everyone take bits of it and live their life through it, we'd probably have like a really chill world.
No question. Yeah.
So,
For sure, I think.
It's always funny for me to go back and read the 10 Commandments and been like, wow, it just starts out in this negative, there's this pool of negativity.
Yeah. And it had been, I can't tell you how long since the last time I read through the 10 Commandments. And reading them again for this, I was just sort of taken aback all over again. Like, God damn, they are wild.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last time I read them was for a theology study, and I was in my like mid-20s. So just to oust myself to the world, I'm 37. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
But even then, I just kind of turned around and was like, holy shit, that's dark.
They get dark.
That's doom and gloom, man. And now that I can take myself into a different light with the Satanic Temple and kind of see this brighter side of humanistic nature and just the brighter side of what humanity could be by following some simple rules.
Yeah.
I'm
a little
biased.
adjustment.
Yeah, like I'm a little biased, but like our fucking rules are better. Just
well, let's
because
not
they're
judge
happier.
yet. We've still got plenty more to go.
I'm judgy as fuck.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. Moving on. Commandment number 5, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. This is really the only law in here with an expressed positive focus and offer of reward.
Yeah.
One could nitpick and suggest that it depends on the mother and father, but sure, honoring or respecting your parents is simple enough. It's a reasonable suggestion.
And I think that one is slightly open to interpretation. You can honor thy father and thy mother doesn't necessarily mean like you have to praise them, that they were the best people on the face of the planet. There are some people out there that have very shitty parents.
Oh yeah.
But in turn, the way that even I look at it and saying like to honor my mother would be like, yeah, well, that's my mom.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be as super praise, but you have to be like, you know what? This is the person that birthed me. So,
just based on that, you'll defend them or whatever.
Much respect to the person that birthed me, even if they didn't do anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that one, it's pretty simple. And that one is unique just in the sense that it says it's sort of promising a sense of reward. I guess it says that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Yeah. It's just, I don't know, a slight change in tone.
It goes from very doom and gloom 4 to, slightly upbeat, little birds chirping in the background.
Honor they mom and dad.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
So I guess simple enough there.
Yeah.
All right. On to number 6. Oh boy, we're getting to the meat of it now. Thou shalt not kill.
That's pretty cut and dry, I think.
Pretty simple one. Yeah. Hard to argue with.
Kind of funny, though, because incredibly contradictory to the rest of the Bible.
Ironically, it's worth mentioning that immediately after the original stone tablets are broken, which happens in the story, Moses orders a genocide.
Yeah.
And that is carried out. The Israelites break their promise by worshiping the golden calf, is it?
Yes. Yeah. It was a golden calf. Basically, Moses went up to Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights, and they literally thought he was dead. They had no way to even like, all right, well, you know what? Fuck it, I'm not going up there, but if he hasn't come back down by now, he's not coming back.
Yeah, we need to worship something.
And, we need to worship something. So they created this golden statue of a calf.
Yeah.
And when Moses came back down with his tablets, and he was so excited to spread these words, including not murdering anyone, he saw what he would be described as a hedonistic type nature. They were dancing and worshiping this golden calf statue. And he got so pissed off that he took the tablets and he threw them on the ground and he ordered mass genocide of all these heathens.
Yeah. On Moses' command, the Levites, I believe it was, they kill about 3,000 people.
Yeah, just straight up.
Yeah. It would seem as though this commandment applies only when convenient throughout this story.
It is one of those things where, like you look at other stories in the Bible, like you look at Cain and Abel, you look at, you have God going, you got to choose, dude. You got to go kill a son.
Yeah.
Like, so where this whole murder thing is just, it kind of makes me giggle slightly because on the very broad skimming the surface, yeah, you know what? You shouldn't go out and fucking murder people. Yeah. It's just not something you should do. But then if you actually read the rest of it, you're like, well, God's telling people to have to choose over their own kids and go murder one.
Yeah. And I mean, spoiler alert, Jesus Christ. Like God himself sends Jesus. He basically murders his own son. Makes Jesus get killed. Yeah. He basically murders his own son. He could prevent that, but no. Crucifixion ahoy. But I guess, on the face of it, thou shalt not kill is reasonable. It's a nice rule, I guess, to stick to.
Yeah. I mean,
certainly if you want to stay out of trouble.
Yeah. Try not to murder somebody.
Yeah. And obviously,
please.
If we're going to make a running comparison, I think a lot of this basic stuff, certainly thou shalt not kill, is covered under compassion and empathy. We've got it. We've got it covered. Commandment number 7, thou shalt not commit adultery. What do you think of this one, Maura?
Whoops.
This one is dangerous.
Whoopsie doodles. Yeah, you probably shouldn't. But to be honest, I think it's very dependent on the situation, and I think that's very dependent on the people.
Also, the Bible itself gets a little fuzzy with this one.
It very fuzzy in certain aspects.
I know a lot of people like to sort of sweep the Old Testament under the rug.
Yeah.
But let's make no mistake here. We'll state this clearly. The Old Testament, guys, that's the Bible.
Yeah.
That's the Bible.
That is
when you say the Bible, you're talking and including the Old Testament.
You have to include the Old Testament because that was basically version 1.0.
That's the real deal.
The
Old Testament's the real shit.
The book.
Yeah. The Old Testament defines adultery as sexual intercourse by mutual consent between a married woman and a man who is not her husband. However, it does not consider a married man taking an additional unmarried woman as his wife to be adultery.
No.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Conversely, a woman was not permitted to have more than one husband. So this is a very lopsided type of rule.
Polyamory is okay as long as it's the man and he could have, 80 bajillion wives. It doesn't matter. But the woman...
No can do.
No can do. You are basically subservient to your husband and you can't go explore any other fruits.
Well, and beyond that, if you look at a person with lustful eyes, you have committed adultery.
No, I'm screwed, man. I'm a flirt and I don't even know it half the time.
Yeah. And as far as modern interpretations go, not everyone, I suppose, but there are many who interpret to include if you are watching pornography, that is adultery in the context of a monogamous relationship, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you don't even need to physically act on this. Again, this is another one that includes a bit of thought crime.
If I'm just thinking about my friend's husband because he's a good-looking guy or whatever.
Yeah.
If I, in the middle of my sleep, I'm cheating
Yes.
in my head.
That's right.
And that's it. I'm done.
Now, later, they kind of retconned the New Testament, and Jesus extended the definition of adultery to include sexual relations between a married man and a woman other than his wife. But again, this is, they do a lot of fixing stuff in the New Testament,
Yeah, they kind of, give it a gloss over.
Yeah. They also, I guess in the newer version, they defined adultery as anyone who divorces their husband or wife and then marries another. So if you're married, get divorced, marry someone else, that's adultery.
Well, divorce in general, especially in Catholicism,
right.
but is like a huge no-no.
Right.
Like you marry somebody, that's it. Like partner for life. Doesn't matter how shitty it is.
Yeah. With this one, I don't think anybody's getting out.
Oh, there's no way.
Nobody's getting out alive with this one.
That's what I said.
You're done.
I'm naturally, if anybody in this world ever catches me in a bar or anything, I am naturally a flirty person because I'm just very outgoing and very loud.
Sure.
So if I bat my eye in a certain way, it's never, for me, it's not even intentional. People are like, yo, you're flirting with him. And I'm like, what am I doing? Oh,
maybe I'm
shit.
just my personality.
Yeah, maybe I'm just bubbly and, nice. And it's like, oh, crap. Yeah, so even out of default, not even realizing it, I'm already screwed on this commandment.
Yeah, that one's troubling.
Yeah, and fuck it being one-sided. You guys get to have all the fun, but I can't have any fun.
They start off originally making it just wildly misogynistic and one-sided, just a sort of, I don't know, just an anti-woman slant on it. And then they retcon it to just make it, I don't know, sillier.
Yeah.
Like it's even sillier. If you could get any sillier.
Girls just want to have fun too, okay? I don't like the fact that there's so many things in the Bible that are very one-sided. Like they just make us they make us slaves.
Yeah, why don't they
women?
They could have just had one or two commandments that were like, look, thou shalt not have any fun whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
Under any fucking circumstances.
No circumstances, no fun.
Yeah. All right. Commandment number 8. Thou shalt not steal.
That's so cut and dry.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah. And it's funny to me because, you read the first 4 and they're kind of wordy and lengthy and things like that. And then it's almost like God got bored.
Yeah.
Like he just got tired and he was like, don't murder,
my
don't
wrist
commit
hurts
adultery.
from carving these stone tablets with my fingers, so I'm going to just simplify.
Yeah, so I'm going to go from a full paragraph to 4 words.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I guess you can't really argue with that one too much. I mean,
no.
You shouldn't steal. And I suppose that's maybe also covered generally under act with compassion and empathy toward all.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You shouldn't steal from someone.
Exactly.
All right. Moving right along. Number 9. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Oh, okay.
The wording of this
The
one.
wording is always fun with this one.
Yeah. And I guess a lot of it is sort of made specific to the time, but I don't know. It maybe applies. The wording points to a judicial context. Bear false witness, the purpose of which was to establish the truth or falsehood of an accusation of the commission of a crime. The integrity of ancient legal proceedings depended almost entirely on the viability of witness testimony, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, back in the day, it was very he said, she said. And if you were known to be the liar of the town or things like that, then like your witness testimony was kind of bullshit across the board.
Yeah.
But, I might not like one of my neighbors, but it's not something that I need to be like, oh, he keeps parking in the handicap parking spot and he never does.
Or just lying. Just like, oh, yeah, I saw him steal that. I saw him. I don't like him, so I'm going to say he stole that.
I don't like it. So, yeah, you know what? He did steal that loaf of bread from that market vendor.
But, of course, nowadays, we know that witness testimony is among the most unreliable sources of information in a legal proceeding.
Pretty much.
Like, we know that witness testimony varies so much. People forget that they saw what they saw. They misconstrue what they saw. They believe they saw a thing that never happened. It's like witnesses are kind of known to be like bad evidence.
And I have to say, and part of that is just human nature in general. We're not a computer. We can't just turn around, look at something, and spit facts.
Yeah.
We have our own, even if we do it subconsciously, there's always something that we have to put our own little spin on things.
And imagine you experience or witness or somehow a part of some traumatic situation. You can't necessarily be relied upon to retell every detail of that with unflinching accuracy after the fact.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're somebody that has been part of school shootings or things those things are incredibly traumatizing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I've never been in that situation. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
or a crime happens in the blink of an eye.
It happens in a blink of an eye. And all I could think about is like, what would be going on in my head in the midst of hearing these gunshots or this or that? Like, there is no way in hell I'm going to remember the one kid that ran down the hallway, what color his shoes were.
But I guess
I'm not
at
gonna be
its
able to
core,
do those.
at its core, if the idea is you shouldn't lie, don't bear false witness intentionally. We can throw in don't lie, and again, this is sort of it points to a judicial context, but even without that context, generally, don't lie.
You shouldn't make up stories
in your personal life.
Yeah, you shouldn't make up stories about other people, whether, with the intention to basically hurt them.
Yeah.
Because when you start making up bullshit,
What if this one
that is
said,
your
like, be
intention.
honest?
It would
Could
be
we
so
have just
much
said, be
easier.
honest?
So much easier. Just be like, don't be a dick and be honest.
Right.
Done.
Yeah. Man, God had a real a flourish here that he really wanted to get across.
Exactly.
All right. Final commandment. We're getting
Okay.
there. Number 10. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Do not have fun with your neighbors at all.
Definitely not. And man, they even go as far as to mention his ass. This guy or woman has been doing squats. They've been hitting the gym. They've been running. They've been eating right. All to look good.
Yeah.
And we can't even have a little covet. We can't look over there and just think, damn, I wish I had some of that. I wish I had some of that as my own.
You can't even take the gander, man.
No.
You can't even eye up his ox or donkey and say, hey, I wish I had a piece of that.
Yeah. And
Which is
again,
kind
this
of
one is
funny that
defining a
you had to put
simple
that in there.
thought
Yeah.
as a sin. This is a thought crime, again.
Yeah.
There is no action whatsoever involved in this commandment. It's not saying you can't act on that thing. It's just saying you can't covet.
Yeah.
You can't even just desire it. Your neighbor got a new Tesla. You can't even like,
I'm gonna be desiring my neighbor's Tesla.
I am gonna covet the fuck out of that thing every single time I see it. Another thought crime. This is just a thought in your mind. You have sinned without taking any action whatsoever.
If I was a Christian, I'd be going to hell like 900 bajillion times over, and I'm only 37.
Yeah.
I got a lot more sinning to do.
It's nearly impossible to get through a day without breaking some of these things.
There are pastors and deacons that I know won't get in.
Oh, nobody's getting in.
Yeah, you're not getting in.
Nobody's getting in.
Nobody.
Like, if the rule were, again, I'm fuzzy on the rules, excuse me. But if the rule was that you had to absolutely stick to all these without breaking them, there's no chance. There's 0% chance.
Hell would be bumping. Mother Teresa be down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way. And I know that you can do the whole forgiveness thing and, the rules are.
And Jesus died for our sins ahead of time. So
exactly.
There is that.
And I could go to a priest and say, you know what, I really fucked up. I'm sorry. And he goes, okay, all's forgiven.
Yeah.
Which is astonishing to me. But yeah, I just got to go to one human dude and say,
guy.
I fucked up. I'm sorry. And he goes, it's okay. But yeah, the thought stuff always like makes me giggle because
those are the worst. I mean, it's hard to even pick out which are the worst, but the idea that's the worst.
I could at least say that I probably have a dirty thought in my head at least once a day.
At least
once a day.
on a very busy, stressful day, at least once I managed to sneak in some kind of fucked up thought like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like every day I'm a sinner.
Yeah.
Every single day. Just by
all without actually doing anything.
Without even saying it on a podcast, without even saying it out loud, just my own thoughts.
Just lying there in bed by yourself.
I'm sinning
pissing God off.
I'm sinning all over the place if I'm lying in bed by myself.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So,
all right. We'll make some attempt to summarize some of this stuff. The first half, to me, are obviously ridiculous. Of the first 5, there's only one the only one worth a look is honor thy father and mother, I guess. It's simple, and I'll give it some benefit of the doubt and say that it means well.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that one is the one that actually is the nicest of the 10.
The second half includes It includes don't kill, don't steal, don't lie in court. I can agree with those.
Absolutely.
Those are simple. Then they have a bullshit misogynistic thing about women committing adultery and what constitutes adultery.
Fuck that one.
And then they close it out with the ridiculous thou shalt not covet, which, again, is a thought crime.
It's an automatic thought crime. And I don't like these thought crimes. And the Bible is incredibly misogynistic. So for me as a woman, I'm like, no.
I did make, I made a note here. Are you familiar at all with Richard Dawkins?
Absolutely.
You know Dawkins? Okay.
The God Delusion is probably in
Yes.
the top 10 of my favorite books.
There's the one.
ever.
So in his celebrated book, The God Delusion, well-known author and atheist Richard Dawkins writes, now I've got a quote from Dawkins here.
Yes.
I am going to attempt to speak this quote in its entirety. I'm going to test the agility of my mouth right now.
Good luck.
All right.
Dawkins is fun.
I'm going to try to get through this, guys. Dawkins writes, the God of the Old Testament is arguably the most unpleasant character in all fiction, jealous and proud of it, a petty, unjust, unforgiving control freak, a vindictive, bloodthirsty ethnic cleanser, a misogynistic, homophobic, racist, infanticidal, genocidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal, sadomasochistic, capriciously malevolent bully. And I got to be honest, he's dead on the money. I looked
First
up
off,
every fucking word.
congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that one.
Thank you. First take. Guys, I want you to know, no editing right there.
There was no editing
I
for
nailed
that.
it.
That was a first take.
I looked up some of those words, and they are all accurate.
Oh.
All of those things take place by God's hand in the Bible, and he is mean and nasty, that
He
Old Testament
is
God.
mean and nasty about it. And I think that's one of the reasons that I love Richard Dawkins in general so much is he just calls it right out. No bullshit.
Yeah.
Here it is.
I get a
Here-
huge
you
kick
know.
out of Dawkins.
I love it. And in one paragraph, he manages to speak an entirety of truth.
Yeah, he killed it with that
He
one.
killed it. And like I've watched him do lectures and everything else, and he is spot on all the time with that.
Yeah, I particularly love some of his debates.
Oh,
When
absolutely.
They put him on sort of like a Dawkins and like a, is it Ken Ham?
Yeah,
there's some of these guys.
They'll find some Christian.
Yeah, they and Dawkins is just he's kind of old now. He's cranky, and he does not give a fuck.
He tears people new assholes, and that's it. Like, it's
He's kind of
done.
hilarious.
I love it. I
So
absolutely
that's
love
what
it.
the commandments are kind of about. The 7 tenets sort of emphasize the positive pro-social values, whereas the commandments, I don't know.
They're very fire and brimstone, and this is the way that you're going to behave.
They
or
focus
so
on
help me.
subjectively bad behaviors to be avoided out of fear of punishment from an absurd, jealous God, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that makes the tenets so amazing and such a contradiction to the 10 Commandments, and it's my favorite tenet, is people are fallible.
Yes.
If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that it may have caused.
For sure.
So guess what? I might covet your Tesla,
Yes.
and it might really piss you off. So as a Satanist, I'm going to walk over and be like, dude, I'm so sorry that I keep, oogling your Model X
But
here.
really, who would
you
even
know.
mind? You know what I mean?
But,
It's like,
if it managed to, the fact is,
you buy that shiny new fucking Ferrari, you already know people are going to covet it. That's half the reason you bought it.
Exactly. And you know what? I am going to make mistakes. I am going to fuck up all the time because I'm not perfect and not by any stretch. And I love the fact that as a Satanist, it's okay that I make a mistake. Now, obviously, my mistake is not going out and murdering somebody. I know better.
Yeah.
But simple things and just in life to go, you know what? I might go commit adultery one day and it's a mistake and I might apologize, and I can apologize for it and I can move on.
You could repair any harm
I can
that may
repair
have
that.
been done.
Yeah, I can repair that
Yeah.
without the consequence and fear of eternal damnation.
Yeah. I wrote a question sort of to myself or to you in this case. I'll pose it to you. What judgments, if any, can we make about a person who feels aligned or accepting of these things? Aside from the basic judgments one could make about a person who believes in the all-knowing Sky Daddy in the first place.
Yeah.
What else do we know about a person who aligns themselves with an overly misogynistic, violent, pro-slavery club? What do we know about those people, if anything?
Nothing. And I'm going to say that we are not going to know anything, because the fun thing that I found throughout Christianity in general is there are levels of which you follow.
Yeah.
So most people that I know that would, comfortably say that they're Christian and things like that don't follow the 10 Commandments to the letter of the law. They don't believe in the misogyny in it. They're not homophobes. They're, not xenophobes. They don't believe in genocide. And I think a lot of that is you're looking at a book that was written 900 bajillion years ago. And times do change and people do evolve. Humans are going to evolve. I know God doesn't believe in that, but
right.
Evolution is a thing. So what I'm going to know from somebody who is a Christian who believes in the 10 Commandments is usually diddly squat.
Yeah.
That I always have a tendency, if there's a debate happening, to use the follow-up questions of, well, what in the Bible stands out to you? What made you decide that this was the path that you wanted to walk in life? Because me just going, oh, well, you believe in the misogynistic parts of the 10 Commandments, you're a shithead.
Yes.
First off, I don't judge anybody, but I don't think I've met a Christian, or I could say I could put 10 Christians in a row and all of them are going to be wildly different.
Yeah. It almost, the obvious question is like, on paper, if you say I'm a Christian, well, kind of by definition, that means you align yourself with the Bible. That is their sacred text.
Yes.
But as you say, in reality, on the ground level here, most people who identify as Christians aren't like 100%. They're not following this. They don't believe it all, for sure.
Christians are wearing polyester cotton blend.
Oh, yeah. So I just, I wish it were as simple as like, I just wonder why then. Why? If you don't really believe it, if you're not really down with it, why identify that way, Because look, we have the 7 tenets.
Yeah.
And we can feel about them that they're pretty good. But what if the 7th tenet was instead, I don't know, gay people should be killed? That was just the 7th tenet. But all the other 6 were really great. I don't think I would align myself with as a Satanist anymore.
I wouldn't. And that's,
I'd be like,
that's
you know what?
thing.
That's a little fucked up. And I'm not down with that club, And
that's really it. And it's very surprising to me. But I think because Christianity is such an old religion and it's morphed into so many different versions, Protestant, Baptist, blah, 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 blah. I could do that for days.
Yeah.
It's safe.
Yes. Well, and it's so embedded into culture.
It is.
From the very beginning.
I could walk into the grocery store and yell, I'm a Christian, and nobody would even bat an eye.
Yeah.
If I walk into the grocery store in the middle of the day, drop my groceries, go, I'm a fucking Satanist. I'll tell you what, that whole grocery store is a broken record. That's the fastest record drop I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that the 7 tenets are morally superior to the 10 Commandments?
I would say but that's, I'm biased.
I would say, but
I would
of
say
course,
yes.
We are the Hail Satan podcast.
Yeah.
So. But man, I just the intellectual part of me, as I like to use critical thinking. I like to play devil's advocate, as it were.
Absolutely.
And sort of try to see the other side of an argument and everything. But I don't know. When I hold up one and the other, I just can't help myself.
It's in religions in general, and I'm definitely not, I'm trying very hard not to shit on Christianity in general.
Sure.
But I want to say as a blanket statement for religions overall, you have your hardcore followers. You have, in Christianity, you have your Mennonites. You have, people that will follow these words to a T. And more power to them. But I will say that probably 90% in religions across the board, Islam, everything else, you're not following this 100%. Women are starting to show their ankles. We're
Yes,
wearing
they
poly
are,
cotton
aren't they?
blend. Buddhists are yelling cuss words. nobody's going to follow their religion 100%. And it makes, for most religions, and for me, especially Christianity, I can't tell you who you are as a person by you saying the words that, I'm a Christian. Because you could be a fucking horrible human being. Or, you could be sweet
Or
as
you
pie.
could be totally great.
Yeah, you could be the sweetest person on the face of the planet. But giving me that one statement,
It's not enough.
it's not enough to where when I feel comfortable now in saying, here's the 7 tenets, I'm a Satanist.
Right.
You automatically know what I'm about. Right out the gate. I believe in these 7 sentences.
Right.
And that's me.
Or on the other hand, if we're traveling in our little bubble with other Satanists, specifically who are aligned with the 7 tenets, that's one thing. But if you're just, in a room full of a cross section of people and you say, I'm a Satanist, you're going to have people who believe you pray to a demon in hell.
Yeah.
You're going to have people who think you're evil and whatever. You're going to have maybe people who think that means Anton LaVey. Oh, you're into Anton LaVey magic.
I get Church of Satan a lot.
Yeah, and it could, or the Satanic Temple. It could be any number of these things. Or you got a random person might just think, oh, you're into like witchcraft, whatever. Who knows what that means? Yeah.
And I feel like in any chance that you are having a conversation of religion, it's always, for me, being the critical thinker that I am and the knowledge, like I'm a knowledge sucker upper. Like I need all the knowledge. And so I immediately ask questions.
Yeah.
And I feel if you go to somebody, and you might be in a room with people that are all over the board, religiously, but if you ask somebody about their religion and you do it in a very kind-hearted way, to ensure them, hey, I'm not going to shit on it, but I want to learn. Like, why are you Islamic? Why are you a Christian? Why are you a Satanist?
Yeah.
And
I think one of the most important things for everyone to do, especially if you do hold your religion fairly close or of a significance in your life.
Yeah.
An important thing to do is ask yourself about the parts of it that you like the least or that you don't like about it. Like, what part of this bothers me a little, and what does it mean, and why does it bother me? And not to separate yourself from it, but just to be critical. Don't gloss over parts. Really tackle them with a little bit of intention and maybe find some meaning there or I don't know, just to have an increased level of clarity for your own sake. I think that's always a valuable thing to do, is to be critical of things.
I think it is too. And I even if religion is something, whatever religion it may be, is something that you believe in wholeheartedly, like pick it apart.
Yeah.
I mean, when I became a Satanist, I picked apart Satanism.
Oh yeah.
And because I didn't want to give myself that title, I didn't want to say, Maura Cates, the Satanist, without really being critical of everything that I was saying by saying that word.
Yeah. Yeah, there are actions that the Satanic Temple has taken and opinions of Satanists who are generally aligned, with the Satanic Temple and the 7 tenets that I disagree with at times. I disagree with their view or interpretation of a certain thing or a certain action I might not be 100% on board with, and that's okay.
And that is okay.
We can be critical of certain things.
And,
and as Satanists, I think it's our fucking duty to be critical of these things.
Duty to be critical. And that's one thing that I absolutely love about it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, the same thing of reason of why I love Richard Dawkins the way that I do. Yeah. It's the absolute critical thinking. There's no bullshit. It's science, and that's that.
Speaking of critical thinking, Maura.
Yes, dear.
We're getting ready to wrap up this episode.
Yes.
I've got a little something lined up for us to listen to. I want to share it with all you guys. You may have heard it. Certainly, if you're a little older, you may have heard it. We're going to listen to a few minutes of the late, great George Carlin. He has a little bit that he did some years back all about the 10 Commandments, and it came to mind as I was piecing this episode together, and I just want to go ahead and play it for you guys. So let's enjoy a little George Carlin.
Now, folks, here's something else I got a problem with. The 10 Commandments. Here's my problem. Why are there 10? You don't need 10. I think the list of commandments was deliberately and artificially inflated to get it up to 10. It's a padded list. Here's what they did. About 5,000 years ago, a bunch of religious and political hustlers got together to try to figure out how to control people, how to keep them in line. They knew people were basically stupid and would believe anything they were told, so they announced that God had given them some commandments. Up on a mountain, when no one was around, God had given them the 10 Commandments. But let me ask you this. When they were sitting around making this shit up, why did they pick 10? Why 10? Why not 9 or 11? I'll tell you why. Because 10 sounds official. 10 sounds important. They knew if it was 11, people wouldn't take it seriously. Say, what, are you kidding me? The 11 Commandments? Get the fuck out of here. But 10 sounds important. 10 is the basis for the decimal system. It's a decade. It's a psychologically satisfying number. The top 10, the 10 most wanted, the 10 best dressed. So having 10 commandments was really a marketing decision. And to me, it's clearly a bullshit list. It's a political document artificially inflated to sell better. I'm going to show you how you could reduce the number of commandments and come up with a list that's a little more workable and logical. We're going to start with the first 3, and I'll use the Roman Catholic version because those are the ones I was taught as a little boy. I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not have strange gods before me. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Thou shalt keep holy the Sabbath. Right off the bat, the first 3, pure bullshit. Sabbath day, Lord's name, strange gods. Spooky language. Spooky language. Designed to scare and control primitive people. In no way does superstitious nonsense like this apply to the lives of intelligent, civilized humans in the 21st century. You throw out the first 3 commandments, you're down to 7. Next, honor thy father and mother. Obedience, respect for authority. Just another name for controlling people. The truth is, obedience and respect should not be automatic. They should be earned. They should be based on the parent's performance. Parent's performance. All right? Some parents deserve respect. Most of them don't. Period. You're down to 6. Now, in the interest of logic, something religion is very uncomfortable with, we're going to jump around the list a little bit. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Stealing and lying. Well, actually, these 2 both prohibit the same kind of behavior. Dishonesty, stealing, and lying. So you don't need 2 of them. Instead, you combine them and you call it thou shalt not be dishonest. And suddenly, you're down to 5. And as long as we're combining, I have 2 others that belong together. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Once again, these 2 prohibit the same kind of behavior, in this case, marital infidelity. The difference is coveting takes place in the mind, and I don't think you should outlaw fantasizing about someone else's wife. Otherwise, what's a guy going to think about when he's waxing his carrot? But marital fidelity is a good idea, so we're going to keep the idea and call this one, thou shalt not be unfaithful. And suddenly, we're down to 4. But when you think about it, honesty and fidelity are really part of the same overall value. So in truth, you could combine the 2 honesty commandments with the 2 fidelity commandments and give them simpler language, positive language instead of negative, and call the whole thing, thou shalt always be honest and faithful, and we're down to 3. Thou shalt, they're going away fast. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. This one is just plain fucking stupid. Coveting your neighbor's goods is what keeps the economy going. Am I right? Your neighbor gets a vibrator that plays "Oh Come All Ye Faithful." You want to get one too. Coveting creates jobs. Leave it alone. You throw out coveting and you're down to 2 now, the big honesty and fidelity commandment, and the one we haven't talked about yet, thou shalt not kill, murder, the 5th commandment. But when you think about it, religion has never really had a big problem with murder. Not really. More people have been killed in the name of God than for any other reason. All you have to do... Sure. All you have to do is look at Northern Ireland, the Middle East, Kashmir, the Inquisition, the Crusades, and the World Trade Center to see how seriously the religious folks take thou shalt not kill. The more devout they are, the more they see murder as being negotiable. It's negotiable. You know? It depends. It depends. It depends on who's doing the killing and who's getting killed. So, with all of this in mind, I leave you with my revised list of the 2 commandments. Thou shalt always be honest and faithful to the provider of thy nookie. And thou shalt try real hard not to kill anyone, unless, of course, they pray to a different invisible man from the one you pray to. 2 is all you need. Moses could have carried him down the hill in his fucking pocket. And if they had a list like that, I wouldn't mind those folks in Alabama putting it up on the courthouse wall. As long as they included one additional commandment, thou shalt keep thy religion to thyself. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
That's all we got, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you have a happy new year, you little maniacs. Hail Satan.
Absolutely. Hail Satan.
Snowla, men skydden heter. I bor vi ser oss med.